All right, everyone. Welcome to the second part of this particular energy dashboard video. If you have not watched my first video where I got the data transformed, you might want to take a look at it to see what we have done to actually get the data ready for analysis. It's very important. So I'm going to continue from where we stopped last time. In case you want to learn how to use DAX to actually answer business questions, this particular channel will definitely teach you that. So see you in the class. All right, to make sure we don't just limit it to, renewable energy, we have to create what we call parameter. So parameter will help us to actually get things done better than what we have right now. So just go over to modeling here and create new parameter. So we're going to be using the fields parameter right here. So maybe what you want to actually click on was some kind of the numeric parameter. You can actually switch between numeric and the field parameter by just clicking on this one. But right now we're using the fields parameter. So over here we have to just click on this one. And the next thing we have to do is to open up this particular DAX house right here. So we want to get in the renewable energy. So we want to get non-renewable energy right in here. Total consumption. The total, I think we don't need to have this here. Instead, we're going to have the energy cost per kilowatt per hour right in it. So what else do we need to actually have right here? So we want to have the emission factor right in as well. So all of these are very important. So one beautiful thing is this has lots of, long text. So you can actually make a change to it. So you can come over here and take off the total away from here. So you can do the same thing to this particular one as well. Take off the total to shorten what you have in it. So do the same thing to this particular one. Take off the total. You'll see this now. So we have something like this now. So make sure this particular slicer is being checked. And over here, you want to actually change this one to switchable. Measures. So click on OK. All right, this is what you have. If we go over here, if this is your first time creating something like this, this here has some kind of, code attached to it. So it is something we can create ourselves. But once, we can actually get it created for us. So why do we have to do that? So over here, you can start reading through this and understand what this particular line of code, does and stuff like that. But what I want you to understand vividly right here, right now, is actually this particular part that is called switchable measure order. So those are the order number, which is what comes first is renewable energy. Second is 1, which is the non-renewable energy. It's actually from 0 to the last number. So we're going to be making use of this particular numbers we have right here, right now, to create something that will make us to, do something much more advanced. So let's get it done. So coming over here, there is no way we can actually integrate it right now, right? So because right away, this is not working. This is not working. Can you see? It's not making any changes right away. So what do we do instead? We have to create a supporting column that helps us to some kind of switch between them. So remember we have this right here, just to guide us through what we have. And just look at this. So if we go back here right now, try to look at what is 0. 0 is renewable energy. 1 is non-renewable energy. 2 is energy consumption. 3 is, energy cost per kilowatt. And the 4 is actually emission factor. So it was as well listed like that right here. We can easily remember what is 0 and 1 by looking at this. Okay. Now, whenever we actually some kind of call 0 is going to reference this, 1 references this, 2 will reference this, 3 will reference this, and 4 is going to give us something like this. So instead of us to return anything from here, we are going to return something from here. So which means if this is actually selected, we want to return, this particular total renewable energy right here. So have that in mind right now for you to understand exactly what we're about to create. Okay, here we go. The next thing we have to do right away is to go straight up to new measure. So the new measure should be under this. I would love to keep my measure organized here for now. So new measure. I can call this group measures. So over here now, I'm going to use a variable. So what this variable will do is going to do, selected is the name. So it's going to actually do selected value. So for the selected value here is going to be the switch measure and is the order number. The order number is from 0 to 4, right? So go ahead and close it. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is actually return this. And under the return, I'm going to use a function called the switch function here. So switch through function. So with this right now, we want to say, okay, if this particular selected here is equals 0, then we want to return something. And what we want to return right now is going to be a measure sitting outside, which is this particular measure right here. So we put a comma right on it. So we do the same thing to this very one. This time around, we're going to ask if it is equals 1, then we want to actually return the non-renewable energy. So how easy it is for me to remember all of this. I always put my eye on this particular part right here. Then we put a comma on it. So this time around, we check if it is equals to, then we want to some kind of return total energy consumed or consumption here. So the next thing now is energy cost per kilowatt. So we check if it is actually equals to 3. So we do energy costs per kilowatt here, then again, if it is this particular one is equals 4, then what we want now is to return. Why is it returning? Let's find out. Okay, emission factor. So you can check out here. So we go ahead and do this. So now we close and hit the enter key. This is all we need to do. So what you need to remember in all we have done right now is to remember the measure name itself. This very one right here, you have to remember it because we're going to be using this now to update the previous measures we have created. Let's do it. So now we have done this. There is no way we're going to use this one directly for now. We just have to make sure. Let's do this now. We start updating this. So first of all, we go over to this particular year table. So click on this one here. So whenever we have this particular one in, we want to use a particular measure called change measure. So what we can do right now is to do Control Shift and L. It highlights the two places we have it right in for us. So I'm going to do remove all of them and put, I think it's called group. So it's not sensitive though. Group measures. Can you see it now? So group measures, that is all we need to do here. We update it. So we go over here, over the percentage part here to update it. So we just have to highlight this particular part here. Once I've done that, Shift L. So inside here, group measures. Then you hit your enter key to update it. This is what you need to do, right? So once you have done that, you just have to trace all the measures you've created with total, energy, renewable energy rather. So over here is going to be group measure. So you hit your enter key to update it. So we have one more to go. I presume 1 or 2 more to go. So here we go. Group measure. So let's see this one here. So we have to update this one as well. So if you fail to update one and you update others, it's not going to work. So right now we have to do this, remove everything. Then we type in group measures. So it is not case sensitive. You can use lowercase or uppercase. It's only choice. It's going to work 100%. So now we have done all of this. So if we step off from here right now to take a look at what we have updated now here, let us take a look at it. So you can see here, let's go out of this and start making changes. The percentage changes. Can you see it now? Do you see this now? So what is not changing now, if you look at it, something is actually weird right here. So what is weird exactly is the value we have here. They are not changing. They remain static. Can you see it now? The value on the ES remains static. So which means we have to update the value. By clicking on this particular part, we scroll all the way down to the, So we scroll all the way down to data label. Once you have it opened, you scroll down to this particular part where it says detail. So instead of us to show this now, we just have to click on this and go over here and do this. Can you see it? So now whenever we do this now, it updates accordingly. So if you look at what I have right now, you can see, here we go. So this is what you have. So just to make sure, use some kind of update the percentage here by clicking on this. So go to the value area. And here we go. So we just have to put this at 14. I think it works. It's at 14. I don't know why it's not giving us what we want. Okay. Now here you go. You have just updated this and it's working with whatever we select from here. This is what we want exactly. So I hope you must have done something like this. If you have any issue, please use the comment section. I'll be right there waiting for you to answer your questions. So give me a heart if you think you'll love this in the comment section. Let me know you're watching this, all of that. So the next thing I'm going to address right now will be this particular value right here. Is it an ideal to have something like this, 0.9? So what it is that we need to do, let's go to this particular group measure right here and make sure we do comma separator and take off any extra decimal places by putting, 0 over here and have it updated. So now this will give you something much more actual. Okay, we have done that. It's giving us this. What can we do? I think we have to click on this here. And let's go over here. Now we click on data label to open it up. If we scroll down now to the value area, we can now open up the value. Then we go the value here. Sorry, that should be under detail. So we go to the detail area. So once we go here, we can now click on from auto, we choose none. None does not work. Why is wrong? How can we fix this? So let's go. Now it's working on others. It's not working on some. So it's giving us issue when we actually search for this particular energy cost per kilowatt. So that means we have to keep decimal places for it. So what can we do in that case? Let's go over this particular group measure and put it on 2 here. This is what we can do to actually have the situation under control. So now we have something like this. So it's now working. So if you're looking forward to create more dynamic number formatting. I have a class for that. You might want to check out my course to actually do better in DAX and create better visuals. Just check it out in the comment section, or you can actually go to the description box to do that. So let's do it. If you look at what we have done so far, we have not followed any of this particular sketch right here. So it is time for you to follow what we have in here right now. That is creating the background that we're going to use for our dashboard. So I already have this here. I have to follow this to create my background. So the easiest way to get this done right now is to take a screenshot of this using my Windows key, Shift and S. So that will actually give me access to take a screenshot. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this from here. So once I've gotten this particular screenshot, let's go ahead and open up PowerPoint. That is where we're going to create the magic. So once the PowerPoint opens, we have to use a blank presentation. So what we need to do right now is to get off everything we have right in here. Just go ahead and delete it. So I'm going to have to duplicate this right now. Duplicate it. So over here, I'm going to paste in this particular, one here. So once I've done this now, it is time for we to get started with what we want to achieve. So the first thing first is to get a background color. So I can take you to a website that can actually help you to mix your color for you in case you don't know how to. I already have my color, but you need to know that website so that if you want to create your own personal project without me being there, you can do it up. You can do that all by yourself. So before we get started, I need to introduce you to a particular website that will help you with mixing of colors. So come to your browser and search for color.adobe.com. So once it gives you, this particular interface here, you want to make sure if it is giving you this particular create, make sure you select this particular explore, then you're going to have this. So what color are we trying to use? We want to use some kind of black color. Black. So put a comma right on it. So the other color I want to use is going to be something like this here. So once you have done this now, you can hit the enter key and leave the system to generate any other color that will work alongside with your black and this other color right here for you. Okay, we have gotten some couple of colors we can actually use right now. You can start scrolling through to see which of those colors will best match what you really want to achieve in your project. So those are the colors that could go along with with our brand right now. So I can decide to select any one of my choice, like this one, for example. I can go with this. I told you I already have my color. So if you want to use this particular color, all you have to do is to pick this particular, copy, and it copies the hex code for you. Now we are here. If you're trying to use it, you can right click and go to format background here. So to make use of what you've just copied now, you can actually open up this particular part, go to more colors, and over here, click on custom. Then you come over here, you can actually go ahead and paste it in and click on OK. That gives you this particular color. So unfortunately, this is not the color we are trying to use. I'm just giving you an example on what you can do to achieve the same thing I've achieved. Okay, in my own case right now, I'm just going to go over here and click on more colors here. Then from there, we're going to click over here. So with the hash key, we're going to use 14, that is 14 right here. So this is what we're going to use, right? So once we have done this now, this is going to change. In case the version of the PowerPoint you're using, it does not have the hex code, you can type in my RGB, which is this particular 20 for red, green, and blue. So click on OK. That gives you a dark background, just like this. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do right now, once I've gotten my background set up, so let's go over here and take a look at what we have in here. The very first thing is for we to actually, get the header right here done. So let's go back over to here. So coming back here, I'm going to pick up this And I want us to be on the same page. So to be on the same page right now, what we need to do is to make sure we use some kind of the same type of size. I don't know how to put this. So let's go over to delete this one. Let's go over to this one that takes this one that has some kind of rounded corner and drag it down. So it is time for it to be some kind of on the same page in this. So we're going to use the height and width I'm going to specify. So over here, I'm going to specify 0.6. That is for the height. So for the width now, let's go with 7.83. So we have something like this. All right. So once we've gotten something like this now, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we get the color right. So what color are we trying to use? Just like what I've shown you previously, we are going to use, a particular color I have already gotten for this particular project. So to get this done right now, I have to come over here and select this particular gradient fill here. Once I've done that, I just want to have just 3 steps. So take 1 step off. So we have 3 steps now. This step come here. This one comes a bit right at this particular spot here. So once we are satisfied to have this right here, the next thing we have to do is to make sure on this particular one, we want to select this very color. On this one, we select the same exact color for it. So for now, it's not making any damn sense. So what do? We select here and we try to maybe get something like this done. So we can change the angle by just playing around with this particular one. Something like this would be cool. So once we have gotten this done now, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we change this particular color here. So come over here and select more color. So over here, we have to change what is here. In case you don't have the hex code, you can change these particular numbers. So I'm going to use 88. Then for the green, I'm going to use 197. And for this one, I'm going to use 242. So that gives me this color here. Do you see this now? If I step off it, we have outline on it. So I'm going to take off the outline from here. So go ahead and collapse this one, then go to the line and turn off the line. So there is no line any longer. So we have something that looks like this. Okay. Now we have to move this one over to this particular spot here and have a little white space at the top. Is very important. So once you've done that, go ahead and Ctrl D to duplicate it. On this particular one, we want to go over to rotation and we flip this way. So I'm going to keep this somewhere around here as well. So this is what we have. So I think this looks better. This is what exactly I want to actually have right here. So once we have gotten this done, we go back here. We have just created this particular top part right here. And over here is going to be our title, while we have in here, some other thing that can actually, help us to understand what's going on in the dashboard. So this particular part is too dark. You might want to make it look much more professional. So let's go over here now and move this. Then move this a bit here. Move this out. So you can actually add on that one here. I can go ahead and take it off. So we do the same thing to this one. We play around with this, something like this. Okay, let's say we are cool with this now. The next thing we have to do is to just go ahead and look at what we have here. So we have this particular bar right here. We have to get that. So we click and get this very one here that has rounded corner. So once we have done that, we just drag it down. So to be on the same page right now, we have to make sure we use this particular part to set the height and the width. So for the height, I'm going to use 4.8. Then here for the width, we are going to use 7.88. Okay, 7.88 is fine. So I'm going to just go ahead and have this one here. This particular rounded corner here, I'm going to just reduce it a little bit. And here, this one is going to be somewhere around here. So remember to maintain the white space right here is very important. So I'm going to click on this one now. So there is something that comes to mind. Here, we want to change the color. Let's go over here. So take your time to have this done if you want to have good work. So let's go with something like this. Better. So try to remember what color you have selected here. Then do the same thing to this particular one over here. And we select this very color. Let's Ctrl Z, I think. Oh, something like this is okay. Nice one. So on this particular one here, we have to agree on the color we want to use for it. That will actually pop out from the dark background that we have, right? So once we come over to the color part here, we can click on more colors and try to change this particular part right here. So over here, we're going to use 28. So over here, we are going to use 29. And finally, we're going to use 35. So once we are done, click on OK. And now you have something like this. Click back on it and make sure this outline here is not on blue. We want to change the outline to look much more professional. So I'm going to click on this particular part of the outline and change it to something a little bit darker. That will still pop, but not as much as this. So let us look for something much more better. Oh, sorry, we flubbed. Ctrl Z. So we want to make sure we do that right here. So previously we selected this. Let's go with this one. Try to look at it. Oh, not bad, but a little bit bad. So I'm going to click on this one now and just reduce the transparency a little bit. Oh, not for this. Go back. Now go down here and take down the transparency a little bit. Okay, the outline seems to look perfectly okay. This is what I want to have. So over here, I'm going to get this one duplicated and shift this one over here. So once we are done, we can just go ahead and reduce this a bit. You see that right now? Okay, now we have this. I'm going to perfectly move this particular part here down to this level. So make sure there's a white space at the bottom right here. It's very important. So if we go back to what we're looking at to create this now, you can now see we have this and we have this here. So it's going to be one single one. We don't have to separate them. So now we have 1, 2, 3 KPIs that we need to create right now. So we need to create this. So how do we actually go ahead and have this done? Is something very, very important. So let's quickly do it. So going over here now, we are going to go ahead and duplicate this one. So reduce it and keep it somewhere around here. To be on the same page, you can actually use the resize part to actually get this done so that we can have the same exact thing. So let's go ahead and click on shape format. Over here, we're going to use 1.43, 1.43. Then we do that by 1.97. So here we go. We have something like this. I'm going to keep this beneath this one here. So once I'm done with this now, I can actually shift this up and hold my control key to select this particular one. Go over here and align to the bottom like this. Okay, we have it. So duplicate this one and keep this around here. So make sure you give it the space a little bit. So duplicate it again, and this time around, fill up this particular gap you have right in here. Okay, this is better. So on this particular one, we want to change its color to something different than what we have right now. It will help our dashboard to be more standout than what it is right now. So once I've clicked on it, I'm going to come over here. So go to more colors and we'll change this particular part. Or you can change the hash code wherever you want. So let us use this 3. This is 3. So we do that by 6.1, and finally we use 5.9. Okay, we have something like this. So those ones here are cool, but we have to make sure we create something like an effect that will make it to look better. So what I'm going to do right now is to click over to this particular part where it says effects, then click on shadow, and now click on this particular preset here. Let us use this particular one that has this particular preset to the right hand corner. Okay, nothing happens, right? Let's click on this particular color and pick this color right here. So once we have done that, we can actually make the blur. Yeah, so we can keep the blur at 22. So we keep the distance at, let the distance be at something like 5 point. Will be perfect. So once we have done this now, we can go ahead and click over here and copy this using this particular format painter and have it on this particular one right here. So this is what we have done to create what you have seen right here. So can you see now? We have just replicated what we have on a rough sketch. So this will help you to be able to get things done quickly. So as you can see, we are done with everything we want from here. We can come back and adjust things later after all, but right now, this is exactly what we want. It is time for you to go to the Power BI environment and see what we can do right in there. All right, to have this exported out right now, what we need to do is to come over to File, and from File, we click on Export. And over here, we're going to click on this particular part that says Change File Type. And now we go ahead and use the PNG right here. So choose your destination. So over here, I'm going to use BG for background. So click on OK. And just this one. So now it is time for you to go back to Power BI environment. So we are here. It is time for you to bring this particular background we have created in here. So over here, we have this particular one called Canvas background. So we can click on this particular browse. So now we have it right here, but unfortunately it's not showing up. So we have to make sure we bring this to 0%. Then we can now have something like this. So it is time for you to start getting things done right here. So the very first thing I'm going to do is to make sure I click on this one and actually resize it to give me exactly what I want. I still want us to be on the same page on this particular resize mode. So click over this particular size and style. On the size and style, I want to keep this at 448. That is the height. The height should be at 448. Then for the weight right here, we want to put it at 256. Will be okay for it. So this is what we have, right? So this one can be manually done, but if you want to use the same thing as what I'm using, you can do 32 here and you do 80 right here. So that is what you can actually do to get what you want done. Okay. So if you want to move it down a little bit, you can actually move it down as what you want to cover up this particular part here, but still it doesn't solve the problem. So what can we do to actually have the perfect thing right here? So first of all, you have to make sure you click on it. So let's go to the colored value here. So in the colored value, we are going to use 25. So that is 25 here. So better, everything is showing up right the way it should be. Okay. The only thing we have not really cool here is this particular, title at the header here. This one here. So what can we do to actually have this fixed, mostly this particular one that is not showing up everything, and this particular one here. It's very simple. So you can actually click on this particular part and open it up. So over here, double click on it and take off the total from here to shorten it. So this will not affect the original version, which is the original measure. So it's only this one that we're actually changing. So double click. So you have to take off every total to make sure you have something showing up nicely. Okay. This is good. We don't have to touch the the font size of this particular, title or title. But for the colored value, it's nice. So once we have gotten something like this done, the next thing we have to do is to go all the way back here again and make sure we turn off the background. Okay, that is done, but not holistic. So we have to scroll all the way down and click on card, go down and turn off the background, and as well, you turn off the border. So now the text are not more visible again. So what do we do? So right now we have to make sure we go all the way back up right here. So if you find difficulty closing all of this to see what you want, you can click over here to hide it and reveal it back again. It closes everything for you. So now we can use the colored value. Over here, we can choose to actually have this on white. That shows everything brightly on the screen. So once you are done now, you click back on this particular colored values again, scroll all the way down till you see this particular label. So click on it and click over here. So we want to select this one that looks very calm on it. So this is what it is that we actually have right now. So as you can see, everything here is good, but not that good. Let us click back on it again and do under formatting right on it. So if we go all the way down, we can see over here, we have card. We scroll down, we have this particular accent bar here. So we open it up and we scroll down. We can now see we want it to start from the left, right? Choose the left, and the left is what we have chosen. So I'm going to choose this color here. All right. So we have something like this, not showing too bright, but it actually gives us something good to actually work with. So I can bring this down a little bit, just a little bit, something like this, because I want it to fit in the middle of it. All right. This looks perfectly okay. Exactly like what we want to see. The next thing we have to make sure we get right now is this particular chart right here. So I want us to be on the same page. We want to check the height and the width of this particular chart and see where it should be. So let us use 320 instead of 307. So we use 320 for the height, and for the width, we're going to use 496. That is 496. Okay, this is great. This is great. So 498 looks better. So what is wrong? It seems this might not give us what we want. 496, 320. So now we can put this over here to take a look at it. So I'm going to bring this down a bit, somewhere around here. So quickly, I want to go over to this and turn off the border. Oh, sorry, the background. Then this one over here, I can move it to this particular part for the time being. So if you look at it now, things are not right and we need to quickly fix it. So why are we having some values not giving us what we want? This is not giving us what we want. So these values are right, but the thing is this, the kind of formatting we have right here is not actually given. So I'm going to return it back to the right format. So we have to click on this particular one here. So we click on the data label. So we scroll down, we choose to use auto. Data labels, there is data label. No, we go to value. So we go to value. We are going to use the, I think we are on value now. We should be able to check that. Yeah, detail, right? So under detail, instead of none, we choose auto. That summarizes this particular value for us. So if I use this particular one now, everything here is 100% correct. But there is a particular way we can make it formatted rightly. That is going to take a lot of work. But if you know how to do it, you write it once and you keep on using it on all your projects. So you might want to check out my course on how I did that. It will show you how to make it with ease. Okay, we have this right now. We need to actually pick up a color that will definitely make sense on our project. So what color do you suggest? So now for our chart, we have to pick the right color. So I'm going to just shift this one a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and reduce the x-axis here. So the x-axis. So if you reduce it, you're going to have something as better as this. So once we have done that, we have to make sure we choose a color that will actually, pop out our value beneath it here. So once that is done, now we have to quickly go all over to this particular colored value. Sorry, this particular data label, and scroll down quickly to this particular detail. Now we choose to use this color for it. So now it's making a lot of sense. So now we have to do for the bars, data bars or the column. So over here, we need to select this particular kind of color. And to make it easy, when you want to select such color, we have to come all the way to here. And from here, we click on this in case you don't remember the color code, which I remember, but I just want to show you how to copy it. So you come over here, you select this one, you click over here now. You just go ahead and Control A, Control C to copy. So we go back here. Now we can actually click over here now and paste in this color. But no, I don't want to select all. So by selecting all now, all the colors will definitely be updated. So instead of that, I want to change my Atlanta 2023, and I want to give this particular color right here to it. Right? So we select 2023 for Chicago. Select this one, give this particular color to it. So we select for New York City. So we click and we choose this particular color for it. So now if we select 2024 here for Atlanta here, we're going to select this same color, but this time around we have to make a variation of it. So go to more colors, and now you can play around with this particular part to either make it darker or choose any good variation that will make it stand out beyond the rest. So somewhere like here now would look very good. So there's a distinct between them. So 2024 is darker, lighter, and this is the version we want to use. So you select for 2024 under Chicago here, and you pick up this very color. So you select for this particular New York here, and you pick up the same exact color. So now this is making a lot of sense. So can you see it now? This is what we have. All right, everyone. The very part you all are waiting for is actually here. So what part am I talking about? Every single time I make any selection here, I want something here to be highlighted. Like this particular non-renewable energy should be on highlight. So remember, we don't have title as in the right title for this for now. So we can actually bring in the title we have here as a default. So later, after all, we're going to change this particular title over here. So let me just make this a bit smaller. Okay, something like this is okay. So how can we create such effect? Should I call it effect? If you call it effect, you're not wrong. It's right. So we can call it effect. So to do that now, we have to come all the way to the insert here. And over here, we're going to select a shape, which is this particular shape right here. That is rectangle. So we have the rectangle shape right here. I'm going to drop it here. So what are we going to do to this? Let us agree on one single height and a particular width. Okay. For the height, we're going to use 94. Then for the width right here, we're going to use 256. Okay, we have something like this that could actually cover up this particular part successfully. So we're going to be duplicating this into multiple. You get it right now, into multiple. But first of all, before we do that, we have to agree on the color we're going to use. So let us take this particular color here, for example. If I actually go over here and I select this particular border, I turn it off. Then over here, I'm going to select the color I want to use, which is this particular color here. So let us look at what happens when this color is actually here and we send it to back. So it's here, we're going to send the color or this particular shape to back. To send it to back right now, we go to format. So we come over to this particular send to back here, send to back. So if I step off it, does the value show up very well? It does, but we have to just move things inside a little bit. So something like this is what we want. So whenever there's a selection from here, we want to highlight this particular one should shift into where it is. It should be here. If I select emission factor, I want to see this particular color on the emission factor right here. So the question is this: how can we do something like that? I think it's very easy, like something very simple. We can do it. So let's see what we can do. So for the time being, we have to do, undo, so that we can have this back to the top here. So it does. Okay, now all we're going to do now is to just click on this particular format here and send this to back now. Then we can have access to actually use this one. Okay, so this one is here. I'm going to duplicate it, Ctrl C and Ctrl V to paste it right in here. So keep this one here. So what we need now is to actually get this particular background color. We're going to get that particular background color. It's very important. But before then, we have to just write a DAX that will help us to switch the color, which is very, very important. But this particular DAX should not be from the scratch. It should be something that we can just replicate the previous measure that we have. We both created this together, and I believe you still remembered this is what we are going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and Ctrl A, Ctrl C to copy. Then I would love to create it inside here as well. So new measure. So just pay attention. It's something very simple, and we're going to create it together. Let's watch. So I have to paste in this very one here, and quickly I'm going to come over here and name this particular part to CF, conditional formatting, and I'm going to name it highlights, like this. So instead of me to return this measure here, I'm going to rather return 0 here. I return back 0 again. You get it now? So we come over here, we return 1 again. Don't worry, you know why I'm doing this. So we come over here, we return 2 right here. So we come over here, we return like 3 over here. So emission factor, we're gonna return, I think we are getting things a little bit weird here now. So I want to go ahead and just close this. Here. So this renewable energy here is 1. I think we've closed that. Let's click back on this measure again. So we click on this one. There is nothing on here now. So I'm going to paste it newly. Then we can take control of it. So here we go. So total renewable energy is 0. That is this one. Then what is 1? Non-renewable energy, which is actually true, is actually 1. Then 2 is emission or energy consumed. That is it. So it's correct. So quickly, we have to do what we've done before. We just have to put here just 0. Then over here, we're going to put, 1. So follow my lead. You're going to have exactly the same thing. So 1. And over here, we have to remove this and put 2 over here. Then we're going to get this 1 off and put 3. And finally, we're going to put 4 right in here. So we have 4 here. So let us change back this again to CF highlight. So I'm going to hit my enter key. This has created a conditional formatting for me, and I'm going to manipulate the shape with this. All right, before we do anything now, we need colors, right? So the color we need is going to come from here. We want to actually use this particular color we have right here, right now. So to get this particular color out, we have to come here, click on style, then we go down, we click on this particular part, and we click here. We get in the hex code over here. So getting the hex code now, I'm going to start the hex code inside in Notepad. You can do this on Notepad++, so any one of it would work. So I'm going to paste this over here. So I'm going to call this one highlight, right? It's important. So if we go to our PowerPoint now, so we're going to copy this color here. We're going to use it as well. So we copy the hex code from here. So do that and step off from here. So now we have done that. Make sure this particular shape is selected, right? So first of all, to know if it is working, let me convert this one into this particular color. So to show if this is working or not, this should be 0 because we're trying to do for this particular renewable energy right here. Okay. So this one doesn't need to be here. We can delete it. So we are doing for this particular renewable energy. That is going to be 0. So when we click over here now, we can go over to fill color. Then we click on the FX right here. So now we have this up. The next thing we have to do right now is to change to rules. And over here, we select this here and we go for the highlight. So we want to make sure we add up to 4 of it. So now we have 4 right here. So we have to make sure we put an equal sign right on all of them. So equals, then this one on equals. So you want to make sure this one here are some kind of number, not percentage. So there should be a number. So if we're going to start from 0, 0, 1, then we have 2, we have 3. So we need 1 more. So here is going to be 4. So we're going to change this one to equals. Okay, once we have done this now, for where it is 0, we are going to use, the color that we highlighted. But for all those ones here, the last color we copied from PowerPoint is what we're going to use. So we paste this. We use this here. So we use this over here. So once we are done now, we can go over here now and use our notepad. So on our notepad, we have the highlights here. So we copy and we actually paste in the highlights over here. So let us see how this one will work magic for us. Oh, did we get it right? We categorize this one as 0. We aren't supposed to have this if it is correct. Let's go back here. So this is equals to 0. Oh, yes, it's working fine. So we have to make sure we select 0 here. 0 is this one. The color has changed. If I select this one, it's going to give me this particular color. So this color I have right now is not the color I want to use. So I want to use this particular exact color here. So I have to go to PowerPoint again. And now choose this. It seems I've gotten this color copied, but why am I having something different? So let's do it again. So I just want to need to go ahead and copy this particular, color from here. So let's go ahead and update what we have done. So to get the same exact color of this background, we have to go back now and we choose to use this very color, this color here, this particular color and this color. So if I click on OK right now, so we have it because it was not selected. Whenever we select this one, we see it on highlight. This is beautiful. So just keep this one over here. Now we have to align this one properly at where it's supposed to be. Right? So let us tap off it. And now we're going to send this to back. So we go over to format and we do align. Sorry, we do send to back, get it done, step off it. Yeah, it gives you this particular highlight here. So once it gives you this highlight, I want to go ahead and actually make sure I bring it back. Yeah, to bring it back right now, you click on this one and send this one to back instead. So once you have done that, you want to click on this one and just move this one inside a little bit to have something like this here. So I might not have the perfect, resizing of a thing right here. In case you want to resize it, to be very difficult for you to just make it go up, it to be too up. So what you can do right now is to click over here and we have to do vertical movement. Can you see it's going down? So this one now, you can just do it manually. It will just take it up for you. Can you see it now? To give gap for this particular, text to show up. So once you have done that now, we can copy this one, get this one deleted, and paste in the new one right here. Then move it and keep it somewhere around here. So now I can go ahead and send this to back. So it has highlighted it. So whenever there is no selection, we want to have something different. Now there is no selection, so it gives us this view. So when there's selection, you have this. But if you look at it right now, I think we still have to work on it. We have to make sure, if you look at here, this part should be cut off from it. Can you see it now? So what can we do? So I can quickly go ahead and send this back again. Then I'll have access to this particular one. So what I'm going to do right now is to click over here. Now is the height. So we reduce the height. So let us do with, 85 and see 85, what it gives us. So if we have used 85, we can go and copy. So delete this particular one and paste in a new one right now. Then we drag this one over here. We click on this one now and send to back. So we have to spend some time to have this formatted nicely. So right here, this is exactly what I want. So this one now should actually come over here like this. So we copy, we paste again, we bring this one over here. So I might not have the perfect, resizing of a thing, but you have to just bear with me with whatever I have here. So for now, we have something like this. So if I click on this one now to format it quickly, I have to go over to here. And now we go to fill. So we choose to actually go ahead and click on FX here. So over here, I'm going to make sure I click on this one and get the hex code away from here. So once we've done that, we give it up to this very one here. And now click on this one, we get its hex code. So we have to make sure we fill up this very one here. So once we've done, we click on OK. Now, can you see? It's gone. So we do the same thing to this one. This one has to do with the second one. So we come over here. So here is the second one. Can you see number 2? So for number 2 right now, you copy this particular color for the highlight. So we come over here, we fill it up with this one here. And over here, we have to make sure we choose this particular color. So we copy it. So we come over here, we give it the color. So now that is for 2. So we go over for 3 here, the third one. So we click over here to update it. So quickly go ahead and copy this particular color here. So we go over to the third one and we paste this one in here. So we copy this particular color, Ctrl C, we can click over here and select the color. So what happens when we go back right here is off. Can you see how beautiful this would look? So finally, we go ahead for this particular one here. So this is the last one and the fourth one. So we copy the hex code of this one Then we come over here, we paste it in, and we come over here now, we copy this particular hex code. We come over here and we actually use this. All right, so watch what happens when I select this. So can you see it now? It's switching, but unfortunately, they are actually covering it at the top. So we can actually select them manually and go over here and do send to back. So send to back works if I go ahead and select this now. So can you see now? This is how we can actually create something like this that highlights this for us. So you might be asking now, what sense does this make? So now we are on the energy consumption. That is total energy consumption here. It highlights it for us. And this is exactly what we are looking at right here. So the next thing we have to do right now is to make sure this particular title reflects what is selected from our slicer, which is very important. First of all, we have to make sure this particular slicer sits at the place where it will make lots of sense. So let us go over here and choose to use the drop down. Oh no, we can't. Yeah, sure, we can. So we have used the drop down. Can just do this. And now we turn off the header. So we can make this way. So bring it up to this level here. Can you see it now? So if we go over to this particular size and style, we locate this particular one and turn off the background. So we will actually bring it back on. So we have this. So it's your choice if you want to have it on white color. So keep on doing this until you have it open up. So something like this. So if you want to have it a different color, what you can do right now is to click over here. So, and come over to this particular value area. So change the value to white. So once you have done that, it will not reflect over here any longer. So what can you do? You have to change the background color, which is very, very important. So we go all the way down, we choose background, we click over here. So we can go ahead and choose something like this. So can you see it now? So when I select this now, I see this one showing up the way it should be. And my dashboard updates. So what is left for me to some kind of update the title of my chart, which is very, very important. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Now we go over to this particular group. So once more, we go ahead and copy this and create our title from it. So my title will be this particular one, Total Renewable Energy. So this one is showing measure. So I'm going to use, so you can just keep this one over here. So inside double quotation, so you can actually start typing here. This one will be, we can just do, copy this particular part here and Ctrl C to make it easy. So paste it right in here. That's total non-renewable energy. So here it's going to be by location versus year over year percentage. So once you have done that, you can actually go ahead and clear this off from here. So you take it off. So once you've done that, you're going to put a comma here, and a comma should actually come right in here. So you do the same thing to this particular one. Just copy this particular part right here. Or still, once you've done that, so instead of you doing that, we can actually remove this particular, our square bracket away from here. So we take off this particular one. So we do this, and we do by location versus year over year, percentage. So we close this, we put a comma on it. You can see how easy it is. So take off this one here. So do this, and over here, so we're going to put in here total. So with the total now, we can come over here and do by location versus year over year percentage. And finally, I'm going to take off this particular one here and do by location versus year over year percent. So we come over here, we do this. So what we have done now is to create a title for what we have. So I'm going to name this one title, location title. So I'm going to use title first. So hit my enter key. So how do we use this particular title and make it switch automatically? What is going on? So take off this particular close bracket and hit your enter key again. So I still have an error. What is this error for? Okay, this error has to do with this particular part here. We have to close this. Now I can hit my enter key to successfully have it corrected. Okay, we have this. It's called title location. So click on this particular one here and go over to this format and click on title. Then over here, we're going to click on this particular FX here and choose to use field. Then over here, we're just going to do title, and that is gonna be this very one here. Then we click on OK. So now we have it. So we can just go ahead and make sure we centralize this particular title right here. So whenever we make any change of this now, it's giving us total renewable energy by location versus year-over-year change, and somebody can read this and it highlights this one for us. So if I just select this particular emission factor right here, so we have the same thing right here, emission factor, by location versus year-over-year change, and it highlights this very part for us. So can you see how beautiful this could actually look right now? So this is great. I don't know if this makes sense to you. You can actually apply this on your own personal project, and make sure you leave me a heart on the comment section if you don't have anything to tell me. So I'm going to respond to you and know that you're watching actually. So let's keep creating. It is time for you to fill these particular KPIs that we have right here. They are very simple. So what we want to actually get into this particular part is the renewable energy share of the grand total. So, and as well over here, we have to do non-renewable energy share of the grand total. While here, we just need to get in the total energy, total cost of energy, overall total cost of energy. So remember, we have something similar to that right here, but this is a little bit different. We're trying to look at how much, it costs, for energy consumption per kilowatt, right? Is 0.17 cents. So let's see what we can do. On this particular part right here, what I'm going to do is to actually open up the DAX house here and actually create a new DAX in here. So over here now, I'm going to actually call this one renewable energy share. So we do that in percentage. So we can do percentage of renewable energy share. So over here we do equal sign. So what we can do to make it easy to read, otherwise we don't have to necessarily need to put all of this inside a variable, but to make it easy for you to understand, let us do variable here. This variable should be called renewable here, and we just do total renewable energy here, and we create another variable here. This variable will definitely store in the total energy consumed. So we must not put a space in it. So it's going to be equals, and over here, total energy consumption. Oh, we flopped. So here's energy consumption in total. So this one should be renewable energy. This is it. So now what we're going to do right now to actually create the percentage of energy share or renewable energy share right now is for we to actually create a return part of it. So under this particular return part, we're going to say divide So what are we dividing? We are dividing our total renewable energy, which is this very one here, by the total energy consumed. So we can do it directly without using a variable, but this will definitely help whoever comes to our back end to understand what is going on right here. So the person will be able to tell that, oh, this one here is a measure sitting outside, and this measure was stored inside this particular variable. So as well, this particular part right here. So, and the variable we used to actually get this created, and as well get this right here created. So somehow easy. So ordinarily, we wouldn't have need to create this particular part. If we don't create it, we can just do division directly and it will still give us exactly the same value. So let's check it out. So now I'm going to do Ctrl A and Ctrl C to copy and hit my enter key because I'm going to use the one I've copied to create my non-renewable energy share. So how about that? So let's just quickly format this into a percentage, which is very, very important. And we want to use 2 decimal places right and left. So I'm going to paste this one over here, and I'm going to turn this one to non-renewable energy. So instead of for me to show this one here, I'm going to put none over here. So right now we have to put none over here. So we have to. So complete, we just have to hit enter key to commit this and convert it into a percentage as well. Our KPIs are 100% completed, so we can now make use of this. So we have this over here. This is the non-renewable energy, and over here is the renewable energy right here. So now what do we do? This particular one is okay, but the label wouldn't show up very well here. This is where we have to customize our own label ourselves. So what do? We can quickly go ahead and bring in a text box right here. So we type in percentage of renewable energy share in it. So what we have to do right now, we have to make sure we format this. Ctrl A, we convert this into 12. So we use 12, right? So we can actually make this smaller and make sure we centralize it like this. So we take this one and keep it somewhere around here for the time being. So we go over to the format area. We take off the background. So now we can see the text. So we have to click inside it and Ctrl A to highlight it. Then we come over here now, select this particular part right here. And now we have something like this. So all we need to do right now is to just go ahead and get this one duplicated, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. So we keep this one over here, and we just put none on this one. So we can stretch it. So we're going to copy the same thing we have here, and we bring this one over here. So this one will be, to maintain the formatting, even if you're going to take off something, just take off a part and do total energy cost. They will not take off the percentage away from here. So this is what we can actually do. So once we have done this now, here is our renewable energy. So we want to actually look at this and see what formatting we are going to give to it. So for the formatting part here, we just have to turn off the background. Then we have this. So the next thing is for to turn off this particular one right here. And for the colored value, we want to put it at 25. So we do 5. Then we bring up the color to this particular color here. So we can just reduce this and keep this somewhere around here for the time being. So I can just go ahead and Ctrl C, Ctrl V to paste it and bring this over here. then Ctrl V to paste again, then bring this over to this particular part. On this one, I have to change what I have on it. So go with this one here. This is beautiful. So we can have this one deleted. Okay, if you look at it, it looks cool, but it doesn't really give me what I want. I want to have some couple of icons right in it. So how do we do that? It's something very simple. Let's try it. So now we are back here. The next thing we have to do is to make sure it's not identified here, but we just have to do it. So it's for you to make sure we have some couple of icons here. I'm going to take out this particular circle here. Hold my shift key to make sure I drag in the perfect circle, just something like this, right? So I can bring this particular circle right to this particular spot here. So let us reduce it a bit. Okay, keep it somewhere around here. Then this one should be converted into black color like this. Duplicate it and keep this one over here. So have this duplicated and maximize this to have huge size. So I'm going to keep this one over here. And now once we have this, I'm going to do format shape. I'm going to change the color to match this particular color right here. Right, let's see. Okay, let's go with this color here. So once we have this particular color, that is good for what we want to do. Now we need to bring in some couple of icons. It depends on the version of, this particular word should actually turn off its background. So it depends on the version of PowerPoint you're using. If I go over here now, I can actually go to icons. In case you don't have this particular version here, you just have to wait for me to show you how to actually grab it from an online platforms or a website, how you can get icon for free on a website. So over here, we can search for anything we want to actually, have. I'm going to search for energy. So it's going to give me some couple of icons that has to do with energy. Just hit the enter if you've done the search or written what you want to search for. The biggest work had been done. So all we have to do right now is to make sure we actually fill this particular part up. So what we need to be here right now should actually be the trend. So the trend is going to come from what we have right here. And over here is going to be the seasonality view. Like the summer, the winter, the spring and stuff like that is what we're going to have right here. And everything will actually come from whatever we select from here that will actually update this one and as well this very one right here. So how do we do that? It's very simple. Okay. We have a calendar here. And inside the calendar, we have the year. So we do not have the month. And as well, we do not have the seasonality. Okay, let's go over here. So it is time for we to update our calendar and add just 2 columns. Yes. So we don't need much, so we don't have to do too much. So the very first column I'm going to add right now. So the first column I need to add is just going to be the month. So I'm going to add 2 columns now. So which is month number and month. So we put a comma right here. We do month number, MN for month number. We do that inside double quotes, MN for month number. So we put a comma right here on it. So with that, we're going to use this particular month function here and we supply it the date coming from this square bracket here. So we go ahead and close and hit a comma. The next one now is going to be the actual month. So this is going to be month and we'll put a comma here. So instead of us to use the month function again, we use the format function to convert the date into what we want. So here we go. We have this. So comma here, we're dealing with month. So we do in a shorter form. So just 3 M's give us shorter month. So if I hit my enter key right now, this will generate for me the month and as well the month number. So now that we have this particular month right here, the next thing we have to do right now is to actually, sort this by the month number. So we have to come all the way here to sort by. So we want to make sure this one is highlighted and we sort by the month number. We can now add a new visual here. And this visual should contain the month. So once it does, we go to the switch measure here. I'm going to change measure into it. So now it's giving us this particular kind of chart. So we want to change it to a line chart. That gives us better view of the trend that we have. So I'm going to keep it somewhere around here. So I have something like this here. So quickly I have to do some formatting right on it. The first thing here is going to be the title, but let's go over here and turn off this particular background color here. So once we have done that, we have to quickly go to the line part here. So this line here is using the linear. So I'm going to select this particular smooth line. I love this kind of line a lot. So once I've done that, I love using the shade area. So I'm going to select the shade area and open it up and go over here and reduce the transparency, not to make it as this. So we can just make sure it's just a little, something like this. So now if you look at it, it's not really clean yet. So we have to make sure we change something on the x-axis. So on the x-axis, I go over here. I try to put this, make it bright. So here we go. You can increase the size if you need to make sure it shows well. But it's going to make something weird. So we're going to go with this one. So for the y-axis, we want to touch the y-axis as well. So we go to the value area. So we just make sure it doesn't overshadow everything we have here. So we'll keep it at this. So we turn off the title of the y-axis. Then we have something like this. So if you look at it, we have some couple of grid lines on it. It's optional. If you want to take it off, you can. So it's your choice, depends on what you really want to actually have. So coming to the grid lines here, we can come over here and turn off this. And it makes the chart look very clean. Can you see what we have right now? Okay, now if I select renewable energy, I have this change. If I select a particular year, this particular one updates automatically. Can you see now? It updates automatically, which means it's very dynamic. So what next do I want to do? So in case I want to use any of this particular color here to highlight this right now, I can click over here, which is on this particular chart. So once you click on it, you go over to the column color. So you now say you want to go for 2023. So you select its color, you copy the color hex code from here. So once you have done that, you step off it and you come over here. So click on this now and you go over to the line. So from line, you're going to see where it says color. So click on the color, click over here and choose this very color. So the funny thing is that if I actually choose a different one now, like this one, it's going to retain the color for me. Can you see now? So we have the same exact color right in here. Can you see? So this is better right now. I love this. So what about the title? The title is not here yet. So we actually have a title, but unfortunately, the title is not what we want to actually have right here. So what do we want and how do we correct the title? So we have to select the dynamic title just like this one. So we need to go over here and click on this particular title part. That was why I named it title location. So I'm going to do this, copy, right click. This is going to be very snappy. All right, we have this right here. I'm going to put this particular one to title month. So once I've done that right here, anywhere we have this particular month right in, this particular location right in, I want to make sure I do select it. select this particular one and Control Shift L. So it will select everywhere we have it right in. I'm going to put in month right here. Then I'm going to select this particular part right here. By this one here, Control Shift L, I delete it. Can you see how easy it is to get this done right now? So if I hit my Enter key, this will create what I want for me. Okay, we can quickly use this to update our line chart. So click over here now. Click over here. Click on this one. Then click on the FX here. So let us click on title, which is the month. We'll click on OK. So now we have it. So we can just go ahead and bring this one down a little bit. So we might want to have it this particular spot here. Is okay. So what is next? The next thing right now is for me to add a seasonality chart. So which is going to be somewhere around here. But do we have it right now? No, we don't actually have a column that supports that. So we have to go all the way here to create a particular column in our calendar table, which is very, very important. Okay, now we are actually analyzing data that is coming from the United States. So we need to make sure we get the winter date, the spring, the summer, and all of that. So before we start adding any column, I already know the dates. So I want to go over here. So I'm going to make a search here and say, winter date in the US. So it's going to be December. That is December 21 to 22. So it's within 3 months. So March 20 to 21. So we can scroll down. And we have the 3 months, December, January, and February here. Try to remember this. So you actually search for this particular one as well. So it will give you the month. Let's scroll down and actually click over here. So this gives you March, April, and May. So you search for this as well, summer. So once you have it, you can scroll down, and once you have this, so it gives you June, July, and August. Do that to everyone you really want. So those are the seasonality we are trying to look at. So when we get back here right now, we want to put in a particular column that will help us to get that done. So first of all, I'm going to do a comment here. So here, this is for seasonality, whatever it is. So next again now is going to be renaming this particular column to so we have to make sure we have here a comma. So we now come down here now and name this one to season. So once we have done that now, we put a comma, we come down here, we can actually write the switch function. So we switch only when it is true. So comma here. Now it is time for it to actually start getting things done. So when we saw winter is December, January, and February. So how do we get that done? It's very simple. So we're going to use the month function. Month function here. Inside this particular month function, we're going to call this particular column right here. You see this column? Within the square bracket, you put in date, you're going to have this right here. So you have it closed and you use this particular function called the in function and ask the in function using the curly bracket right here. Open and close curly bracket, and inside it, you want to type in 12, 1 for January and 2 for December. Oh, sorry, 2 for February right here. So what are we doing right now? We are just simply saying, so this particular month here, what it will return will be exactly what we have as inside a month number here. That is number 1 to 12, right? So this int function is now asking, do we have 12, 1 and 2 inside here? Specifically what this one returns for us right now, or there's a different entirely. Okay, if that is the case, I want you to do something. So I'm going to put a comma right here. So if that is the case now, I want you to give me winter. So otherwise, just do under month again. So this time around, you can do month and date here. So we close it and we use the int function. So we use the curly bracket again. So inside it, we want to type in the 3rd month of the year, the 4th month, and the 5th month of the year, which is going to be 3, 4, and 5. So we got to say, if this is the case, I want you to go and use the int function to search. Oh, sorry, not the int function. You have to give me rather. So now you have to give me spring. So put a comma again. So we do month. So over here, we do date again. So we close and find it. If it is in, whatever I specified here as number, then we're going to specify the 6th month of the year, 6, 7, and finally we use the 8th month of the year and say, if that is true, we want you to actually give us summer. So finally, we're going to do under month again. So we do date again. We close this and we'll put the int function here. So over here, curly brackets. So we do 9, the 10th month, and comma, and the 11th month. If that is the case, I want you to give me this. So maybe the data you're analyzing is not of this particular United States country. You have to make sure you find out the seasonality you have in that country. So different thing for Nigeria if you want to do for Nigeria. So you just need to know that. I just have to search for the dates that all those particular season falls into. So we have just successfully created a particular column that helps us to give us this particular seasonality of a thing. So all we have to do right now is to go over here and click on this particular part here and choose to use this in here. And over here, we're going to use this particular group measure. So now here we go. I can quickly go ahead and click on this one and click over here and supply the same formatting for this. So which is better? I love this. So what is next right now? Right now, this looks cool, but what if I don't like this and I want to change it to a different kind of chart? So I can go with this particular chart right here. This chart looks better to me. So I can actually go ahead and bring it up. This one gives me much more nice view than what I have before now. So if I want to go with this right now, this is better. I love it. So the next thing you have to do is to make sure the title is correct. So we want to go over to this particular title here. And we Ctrl A, Ctrl C to copy. Then we quickly create a new measure in here. We paste this in and we type in season. So instead of us to use month here, we're going to do Ctrl Shift L. So here we go. So what do we do now we have to click on the format here, the title. We do the same exact thing we have done before. We just choose title, which is the season, and we'll click on OK. This will update the title for us. So what about this? This is looking very nice right now. If I select anything from here right now, it's going to actually update the whole chart and give me a very nice view. The changes here is actually down by 3.9%, while here is a growth of 4%, and this particular part as well is 2.2%. This is exactly what you have. And whenever you make any selection from here, automatically it highlights what you have right here for you to point at it that this is the total number of what you're just looking at as a breakdown on a different chart right now. Can you see how beautiful this could look? So what else do we need? We need to actually put in here a title for our dashboard. So it's something very simple. So let's go over here now and just stretch this up. So I can copy the previous, one here. So I'm going to move this one and keep it right here. So once I've done that, I can stretch it out to make sure it contains what I want to type in. So here I'm going to just type in the name of the dashboard. So I'm going to do Control A to make sure I highlight the content inside it. Then I go over here now and select 24 should be okay for me. 24. So once I've done that, I'm going to just make sure I bring this up. Now over here, I'm going to select a bolder font like this particular one here. Then once I've done that, we can just move this and keep it somewhere around here, right? So over here, you can decide to select this particular part and come over to the color area and give it a black color. Let's just look at what we have. Can you see it now? This makes a lot of sense in case you want to have something like this. So the dark color is too very dark, so we just have to select a calm color like this one here. I think this looks better. So what about this? These are the instructions that we have to create this particular dashboard. So we have this particular top part here divided into two, and one carries the title of our dashboard, while the other one carries the summary of our dashboard that could actually, help us to understand what could be, improved and what kind of energy should be, encouraged in the location selected. So how can we do this particular summary? So the very first thing we need to do is to actually create two measures. So to make sure this is not complicated, we're going to create three different measures. So the very first one now, right click here and create a new measure. So what we want to do right now is to create the total renewable cost or energy, or total renewable energy cost. Then let me take you back to the main data that we have. So you can now see that we only have one single column that contains the cost of the use of energy. Let's go to data. And that column is this particular one here. It is called energy costs in USD. So we don't have a separate column for renewable energy and non-renewable energy. So how can we actually get this done? To separate the total cost of renewable energy and the non-renewable energy. This is something very, very simple. So let's do it. So coming here right now, we have to first of all understand that we have this as renewable and non-renewable, and we have measure for it. So the combination of this particular two gives us the total energy consumed. So to now have the total renewable energy or non-renewable energy cost right now, we have to create a particular measure. to do that for us. So let's go ahead and do new measure. So I'm going to call this one total renewable energy cost equals. Okay, I'm going to have a variable here, and in this variable I'm going to have underscore here. So this underscore should be called total energy cost, which is going to be equals total energy costs. I'm going to put in costs here. That is energy cost USD. Here we go. Right? So once we are done with that, we're going to create a different variable again. This variable should be called renewable energy proportion. That is renewable energy. So proportion. So it's going to be equals. And now what do? We're going to use a divide function here. So divide. So what are we dividing? We are going to divide the total renewable energy by the total energy consumed. I believe that is total renewable energy by the energy consumed. It seems we have this kind of measure created before, but I can't remember that. So we can still recreate it right here. So we're going to bring it in here. Total renewable energy. So we divide that by the total energy consumption here. So we go ahead and close this. So once we are done this now, we have to estimate the total cost of renewable energy alone. And to get that done right now, you have to actually store this inside a different variable. So we're going to do underscore, and inside this particular underscore, we're going to call this one here estimated renewable costs. So it's going to be equals. So we're going to do underscore here, total energy costs. We multiply that by the underscore renewable energy proportion that we have created. So once that is done, we can just go ahead and return this. And what do we return here? We are going to return the estimated renewable energy costs, and we hit our enter key. So let us see the cost of renewable energy right now. So we're gonna push this one into. Before then, let me just go ahead and Control A, Control C to copy. So I'm gonna push this one here and take a look at it. So here, this one gives us this. Okay, so we have this as the value. Okay, if you look at this, we're not supposed to have this huge number right here. That was because we must have flub here. So here we are using the energy cost, that is energy cost in USD. No, we are supposed to store in this particular one right here. So here is going to be energy cost per kilowatt per hour here, something like this. So if I hit my enter key right now, I should be expecting something like 0.10 cent and stuff like that. Oh, which is this? So quickly, we just have to make sure we format this into some kind of dollar value, because this is monetary part of it. So we just have to go over here and put 2 to make sure we extract it to decimal places out. So 0.10 is what we have. So we're just going to go ahead and Control A, Control C to copy. So we right click here and we create a new measure to paste this in. You have to remember these particular measures we are creating because we're going to reuse them. So paste this one over here. So we're going to call this one none. So once we have done that, we're going to do none over here as well. So that is it. That is all the changes we need to make. So total energy cost renewable. So I'm going to put here none. So it will render where we have used it as error. So we put none here as well to make sure it's readable and go according to what we are calculating. So now I can hit my enter key and convert this into, normal dollar formatting. All right. So with those particular two measures, to quickly remember them, you can actually bring in the second one into it. So we have those two measures right here. We can stretch them out over here. So let's make sure this one has 2 decimal places, just like what this other one have. It is time for we to actually create our energy cost summary. So to do that now, we have to actually be very patient with what we're going to do right here, because this is not going to be some kind of huge text, but the DAX will look a little bit huge. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now with a double quotes here, I'm going to type in renewable energy costs. So I'm going to put an ampersand here. Sorry, a $sign here, because it's going to be a format for me right now. So with that now, I can actually put here an ampersand to actually include the format. So the previous measure we have created is what we're about to use right now. So using this particular format function, I'm going to do total energy costs. That is total renewable energy cost right here. So to format this now, I can put a comma here, and inside double quotes, do hash, comma, hash 0.00. Then we go ahead and close this. Then we have this closed and use an ampersand to concatenate something else to it. So with my shift key and my enter key right now, we can actually go ahead and look at what this return, if we want to return this. So which means that I have to put this right now. I can remove this and hit my enter key. So this will actually help us to, this will guide us to what it is that we have achieved. Step by step, we'll return all of this. So now I'm going to select this one. Here's what we have. So I'm going to have lots. We'll just go ahead and put this at 30. So nicely done. So let me use it at 20. Let me just put at 25 instead. So 25 is okay. So now we can now see this now. So once we have this, we go back here and click on this. So it gives us renewable energy cost 0.10 cent, just like what we have right here. So we do an ampersand right here, and we step down. So this time around, we open this, and I'm going to say per kilowatts per hour. So comma, while non-renewable energy costs. So inside our cost, we put a $sign here to make sure we actually give it the same formatting we have given it before. So we close this and we put an ampersand right here. We don't have to repeat this again. So we just have to come over here from format. We copy down to this particular closed bracket. So we paste this over here. So if I hit my enter key again, it will update what I have right here as a text for me. Then gradually we can now start seeing what it is that we are doing right here, if it is making sense or not, right? So it says renewable energy costs 0.10 cent per kilowatt. So if you look at it right now, there is no space before this now. So I'm going to come over here now and decide to put a space in it. So we put space over here. If I hit my enter key, there will be separation between this particular 0.10 cent per. So now we have a space in it. While non-renewable energy costs 0.10, so this 0.10 now is not updated. So we have to update it to none. So we come over here and we put none over here. So if I hit my enter key, this will definitely give me the right value right here. All right, what else do we need to do? So we need to actually put a full stop on this. So we have to do ampersand here, double quotes, full stop, space, then close this and under ampersand. So look at it. If I hit my enter key right now, what is going to happen? I'm going to have a full stop after 0.7 cent. Oh, sorry, I can't have anything because I have to concatenate something right here. If I've given this, if I want to have that particular full stop, I can hit my enter key without me putting that particular last, So I have a full stop here. So let's go ahead and add this here. So what is next right now? So we want to say renewable energy is, so we want to give it the percentage. So what I'm talking about in essence is that now we want to say renewable energy is higher or lower. So to determine if it is higher or lower, we have to run a quick check right here, right now. So I'm going to come here and say, so we close an under ampersand right here. So we're going to use the if function to do the check we are going to use to check if it is good or bad. So we're going to check total energy costs. Total energy cost. If it is greater than the total non-energy, that is non-renewable energy cost right here. So comma. If that is true, we're going to say, higher by, then this by should actually take in the percentage. So higher by what percentage? So under ampersand right here. So I'm going to do format function to quickly format my percentage. So now we're going to create a percentage right here because we don't have it sitting outside. So we're going to do divide. So this divide function will definitely take in the total energy cost, which is this right here, and divide that, and we subtract this particular non-renewable energy cost from it. Then once we have done that, we divide it by the non-renewable energy cost right here. So we close this. So once we have done that, now the next thing we have to do is to make sure we multiply this by 100 and put a comma right in it. You see that? So we can now do a format. That is what this particular format stands for. We're going to do a format right now. The format now will be inside double quotes 0.0. So we can close this and have this closed. So once we've done that, and the ampersand right here, so we're going to concatenate here, percentage to it. So, comma, so we're going to say, which is bad for costs savings. So put a comma here and have this closed. So then we can actually hit the enter key to see what this particular part will give to us before we proceed. So over here it says renewable energy costs 0.10 cent per kilowatt per hour, while non-renewable energy, costs 0.7 cent. Renewable energy, is higher by 34%, which is bad for cost saving. Can you see it now? This is what actually gave us that. So you can see how easy it could be. So what do we do instead? So after we might have actually added a comma right in here. So this one should be a full stop. So over here is going to be a comma. Then if we add a comma here, that means we just need to go over here and say lower by, then we close this. So we have to do under ampersand here, and we do format. So over here now, we don't have to do this over and over again. So we can just go ahead and copy this particular part down to this very part right here and just make a little change to it. So we do paste this one in here. So what is the changes we want to make to this particular one? So instead of us to have total renewable energy, so we rather have the non-renewable energy cost, and this one should be just renewable energy. And over here, we take off the none, and we just have something like this, right? So once we have gotten this done now, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we actually format this. So inside here, we're going to do 0.0. Then we do this, we close. So I think we already have something similar to that right here. So we can actually use that if we want. So here we go. We do this now. So we put a percentage right here. We close and put a comma on it. So do we have any issue? So there is an error somewhere. Let me find it out. Comma. Let's shift this. So 100, comma. This years. So we don't have to close this particular one. So we just put a comma right here. And now we can say, which is good for cost saving or cost efficiency. So we can now close this now. And we hit our enter key. So this is what we have. If you look at this particular last part right here, what will make this particular last part to display what we want for us is when we have a filter that actually warrants that. So for now, we have gotten exactly what we want right here. So this is what we have. How do we actually format this and make sure it fits into where we want to have it is the next thing we have to start thinking about right now. So to get this done now, we have to quickly format this, and the format should be 12. Let's go over here. Let's click over here. I'm going to put this one at 12. So turn off this particular one here. So keep this over here, deselect, and shift it to the top here, like this. So once you have done that, you have to go over to this particular part and turn off this very one. So now it's not really cool. So we have to make sure we go over to the callout value and make sure this one is actually on white. Oh, this is better, but not much better. So this particular part is not showing up very well. So what we have to do right now is to go back to PowerPoint. So right here on PowerPoint, click on this particular one here, right click, and make sure you bring in the format shape. So let us click over here now and try to select a darker version of it. Let's do this. I think this will definitely show what we want. So this is going to show, but it's not really like this one here. So we can go back and fix it back to the previous one. Now we select, go to more colors. So over here now, we can bring this down to create a darker version that a white stuff can actually pop out from. So we do more. So we take it down a little bit. So here we have this. Let us look at if this could actually do what we want for us. So let's go ahead and file, export, click here, double click here. And now you just double click on this one, replace it, this one. So let us look at how we can actually get this one changed. Remove this and paste it back. Paste the new one in here. Okay, I think this looks better. Yeah, a little bit. So we can decide to put this at something like 13. So here we go. So if we take off this and make sure we have something like this, this is something that is going to make our dashboard looks much more readable and easy to understand. So what about this? So there is no way to keep this here. We're going to take it off and our dashboard is as clean as whatever you think of right now. This is exactly what you need to know how to create. And we've just done justification to this. So what do you think about this dashboard? Let me know what your thought is in the comment section then. I'm going to be seeing you in my next videos.